Let's talk about one of the most valuable tools in the whole toolbox there is in order to allow you to begin to know yourself in a manner that is both comfortable and perceptive. Now, you came into this body very together. You came into this body to have experience. You were very aligned. You were real clear about this internal guidance system providing you direction. But as we grow up, the mom, dad, teacher, minister in life has a tendency to say, we have a better idea than you do. We do this and we do that, and this is true and this isn't true. And as a little kid, you accept that on one hand, but many times there's an awareness that says, this isn't true. This doesn't feel good to me. And you begin to develop an aspect of your perceptive abilities called the second chakra. And the second chakra is where this word clair-sentience lives, meaning feeling the world around you, having a sense of what's going on by feeling it. As you kind of grew up and you trusted this, many times this began to become uncomfortable. You would feel people saying one thing, you would hear them saying one thing, and you would feel something very different. A lot of times people didn't have a sense of boundaries. And so again, the mom, dad, teacher, minister saying, that's not good, you're not doing it right. And they kind of climbed into the center of your head. But they also, in your sensitivity, you were really aware of people, let's call it violating your space, coming too close. And many times the energies of fear and uncomfortableness and the things that people walk around with, when they got into your space, that didn't feel very good. So one of the things that many of you have done is you become a hider. You have figured out how to protect yourself by withdrawing, by kind of closing yourself down, because what I was feeling wasn't feeling good. Now, many others of you don't move to that hiding state, but at the same time, you're really conscious because you are readers. You read clairvoyantly, you read as a clairaudient, you hear words. But this feeling piece is something that becomes a defense mechanism. Now, it's a really interesting aspect of second chakra. There's a little sonar machine that sits in the second chakra, and it sends out a vibration, and it bounces off of somebody, and it comes back. It's reading emotions. It basically has a very clear question. What is that feeling? And so it goes out mad, glad, sad, happy. You have a sense of all the people around you, and that gives you a sense of your own stability. But many times when that feeling didn't feel good, and you began to be overwhelmed with these feelings, and then the mom, dad, teacher, minister said, you're not okay. What's wrong with you? You're not attractive, you don't fit, you're never going to be smart. All of a sudden, you began to have an uncertainty about yourself. And this feeling didn't help it out at all. So in order to be able to be more protective of yourself being invalidated, you turn this vibration up somewhat. But what you really did is you changed the question. So the question was, what is that feeling? And mad, glad, sad. And now you changed the question to, what is that feeling about me? The machine works perfectly, but the answer comes back mad, glad, sad, happy, angry, frustrated with me. And so there is a huge misperception that gets created because in trying to be safe in protecting yourself, you chose to redefine a characteristic that actually drew more inaccurate information to you. So as you're now more mature, more wise, more interested in defining yourself and finding well-being, This tool begins to be something that allows you an opportunity to perceive a reality without feeling the reality. It doesn't interrupt your ability to perceive and make a decision, but we're going to begin to change the second chakra's messaging system and back to where it belongs. What is that feeling? But we're going to tone it down. It might be angry, but it's like, I recognize that's anger, but it doesn't overwhelm you. It actually is going to stop right here at the edge of this rose. So let me explain this. There is an aspect of you that is called an aura. All of the energetic living things on the planet have an aura. It's an energy field that contains consciousness, it has functionality, it holds memory, it has perception. Many of the chakras and the tools within the energy field are what allow your personality to be structured in this aura. But when you have everybody else's energy moving in and out of it, it gets pretty confusing to ask and answer the question, who am I? So this tool starts to give you an opportunity to define where you start and stop. Now, there really is no start and stop point to you. But from this point, we're creating a point of delineation, a point of discernment that allows us to really create a point that says, from here to here is me, and everything else is Shakespeare's theater to entertain me. So you're not going to walk around with a rose, but we're going to create a mental image concept. And there's a significance to a rose, but we'll talk about that another time. So what I want you to do is think of what a rose looks like. Now, I'm holding it here for you so you have the capacity to go, oh yeah, I know that. So just close your eyes for a minute and see this rose, or see the rose that's in the garden or you saw at the pharmacy or the grocery store. But would you, right here, just create a mental image picture of a rose? Okay, now just hang on to that. Open your eyes, and let me explain what we're going to do. We're going to take this rose that you're creating as a mental image picture, and we're going to put it right out here on the edge of the aura. Now, how you find the edge of the aura is actually pretty simple, plus or minus. If you take your hand and put it straight out in front of you, and then bend the palm of your hand towards you, approximately right there is where the edge of your aura is. For people who are spending a lot of time in the future, it's going to be a little bit further out. For people who are historians, or those of you who worry about the past, I didn't do that, I'm not, why was I accused, and you hold a lot of your attention in your past, this energy will come in a little bit closer. It'll move back behind you. But basically the aura moves all the way around you, above the head, below the feet. So what we're going to do is create this concept of a rose, and we're going to place the rose right out here on the edge of the aura. Everything from the rose to me is who I am. Everything from the rose out there is theater. Now, this rose doesn't become a wall or a defense mechanism pushing people out. There's no force that's required. It does its job very effectively. It effectively says that, again, from here to here, everything on that side stays on that side, and who I am stays on this side. Now, so you create this rose. See if you can just do this for yourself. Take your hand and just place it straight out in front of you. Turn your palm to yourself and just kind of hold that there. And have a sense of creating a rose. I mean, just take it and put it in your fingers. Just imagine, pretend. Give yourself a lot of room to pretend, because it's the place where you create, but it's also the place where you were shut down very early on life. Stop making those stories up. Stop lying. Stop. And so you went, okay. And your imagination works, but it's not something you pay attention to. So this rose is right out here on the edge of the aura. And what I'd like you to do is, would you, in the center of your head, take a breath and bring your attention to this side of the rose. So just be on this side of the rose, this side of your creative space. Everything over there doesn't belong to you, but it's there to be observed and chosen from. But here I am, right here. Now this rose doesn't just occupy a point in front of you, it moves all the way around your energy field. And so this is where I am, all the way here. This is me, all the way here. It creates kind of a circle around you. It also creates a circle around you this way. So bring your attention to this side of the rose. Bring your awareness to this side of the rose. Now, if you just close your eyes and be on your side of the rose, and just notice yourself grounded, center of your head, kind of in a quieter state. You're not having to think a lot, but just be aware. This is me. Have a sense of that. And then just go ahead and open your eyes. People have said to me, if you were to give up all your tools but one, it doesn't really quite work that way. But this tool, from the standpoint of where you are playing, is one of the most important tools in my toolbox. This rose gives you the ability to allow the world to be noisy out there. Now, this rose also, it's not quite correct to call it a protection rose, but for this purpose, we'll do that. So what happens is, as those emotions, as those angers, frustrations of the world is out there, if you make a decision that that's out there to be observed, and everything out there stops at this rose. If you just kind of create that space and you decide, I'm not going to allow those emotions, I'm just going to observe them, but I don't have to feel them. Particularly that space where I'm a hider or I'm an empath and I'm constantly feeling for my safety. If you would allow this to be the point where you can perceive empathically, but you don't have to feel what you're perceiving in order to understand it. You can begin to have an awareness of it, very subtle feeling, empathically, but you don't have to get overwhelmed with the emotions that other people carry. So this first aspect of this rose is a means of delineation, keeping everything over there for observation, unless you choose to engage in it, and I'm fine. Now, in this space, in fact, there are lots of other people's years of energy. But now you can begin to move it away. Whereas before, it just was reinforced over and over and over. So, first aspect of this rose is to create it, hold it there, and you be on your side. Now, there's a second part of this that plays out quite nicely. As people come closer to you, they have an edge of their energy field too. And a lot of times, because they don't know how to manage their energy field, they just walk right into your space. In the past, that's what you've allowed. But now, as you begin to be around people who don't manage themselves well, and they start to walk towards you, one of the things that happens is, if you play with the rose from this standpoint, stay on your side, and as they come closer to you, You just move the rose back towards you. You're just more or less collapsing your energy field into a very tight space, although it doesn't feel tight. And then as they come closer, you keep this 50% between them and you. They take a step, you just move it back. They take a step, you move it back. They could come to the end of your nose, and you can stay on your side of this rose. As they move back, you just move it back, move it back, move it back. They keep walking, and you hold the rose at the edge of your aura. This is me. Somebody else walks close to you, you just move it back. Now, you have a sense of this already, but it's not usually something people intellectually, consciously understand. And you just move it back. 50%, 50%, 50%. 50%, move it back out. The key is staying on your side, allowing them to be who they are, while you define and allow who you are. Now, this is a very potent tool. It takes some practice. So let me show you this video that we did at a workshop, and it'll give you another sense of this rose. But again, from my point of view, this is one of the most important, valuable tools you can play with. And so watch this video, and then I'll give you a little bit more information. Do you know where you start and stop?
Probably not in the way you would define it.
No. So even though I'm going to ask you, we're going to figure out where you all start and stop, and we're going to start with her. How we're going to do that is I'm going to take a step, and I'm going to ask you if I'm too close. Okay. Now, you're not being strong and tough or anything. You're cooperating. You want to know where you start and stop, because if you know where you start and stop, it changes. It's a game changer. So how's this? Am I too close?
No,
No, it's okay. Okay, so now pay attention. Notice what happens. Now you just watch. Okay, so how's that? Now, if I said she's already being defiant, would that make any sense if you look at her? Yeah, so you're empty. So we're just kind of playing. So this is real for you. Okay, so not too close. Not too, okay. All right, so one more step. Okay, how's that?
it's different.
Oh, what does that mean? Different.
It's closing in.
Okay, so I'm a little closer. What did you all notice? Okay, perfect. So a little bit of movement. Just keep watching. So let's see what happens. So I'm okay? Okay. I'm a nice guy, really. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, one more step. How's that? Did she stop breathing? Yeah. Did she kind of wobble a little bit? It's like, what's going on now? But am I too close?
Too close? No.
Okay, but getting closer.
Close.
Okay. Oh, okay. So what happens to you when I'm getting close? How do you define getting too close?
Agreement. There's an agreement to share.
Yeah, so we're in agreement. We're playing this out.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, there's not an agreement to share. In a way, I'm invading you right now, but I'm just being nice about it.
Right. And so there's an agreement to say, okay, we're going to coexist in this space that I would otherwise probably define as less agreement.
Okay, good. Perfect. Okay. But what if you don't know who I am,
Right.
and you just met me, and I'm now
I want to do this to stop you.
to stop me. Now, is that interesting? I want to do this to stop you. Okay, but that doesn't count here. So am I too close?
No.
All right, so let's see. How's this? Stop breathing again. Threatening. Okay, great. So have you ever been in a space like this with somebody? Okay, I really am a nice guy. Am I too close?
No.
But getting close.
Every time there's pause, then we get a chance to say, okay, we're still safe.
Okay, but there's a place we're trying to figure out where you start and stop. So how is this? What do you think? About it. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so am I too close? So relative to you running away.
And we run back.
yet. Okay, so I'm not too close.
But-
There's still hope.
But
I'm thinking about
I'm
running.
priming is there.
Yeah, I'm
There's
getting ready to run.
engagement in-
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so let me just ask you, what happens when I do this? You're going to accept that?
It's weird. Yeah. You're like, okay, well, class is supposed to have this space, but
So I am. Would you say I'm in your space right now? I'm too
I would
close.
definitely
Okay.
socially do this.
Socially, I would move around. Okay, come back here. All right. Now you just redid this space. So I'm going to say right here for you, actually, I'm going to step back a little. Right here is where your energy field starts and stops. And when I do this, I'm in your space. Now, okay? Now, what happens when I do this? It's better. Interesting? Okay, so I'm right here, and what do you think about sex? Terrified. Anybody ever been there? Somebody says something that it's inappropriate or it's not, it knocks you off space. But she's being very kind. She would really like to run if she could. But, so I'm going to stand here. How's that, better? How's this? Oh, good, okay. All right. So I'm going to say right here actually is where the edge of your space starts and stops. Now, you have an energy field, and basically, I'm going to hold my hand. If you stick your hand straight out in front of you and you turn your palm like this, approximately there is where your energy field starts. Put your hand out and turn your palm. Put it right next to mine. No, this way. So right about here. So I can come up to here technically and she's fine. The minute I move past that line, she begins to panic. So do you. Would that make sense? If you could have that, we're going to call it a rose here. I'll show you in a minute. And all of the things that get in your space stay on that side of the rose. Would that be a useful experience? Okay, so let's play this game. I just happen to have a rose. All right, so here, hold this and hold it right out here. We're going to define the edge of your spaces right here. Don't be too rigid, just right here. Using that logic, the edge of my space would be right here. Okay? Now, there's two rules to this, two ways to make this work. So you're going to hold this way. The first rule is you stay on your side of the rose. Okay? You don't come to my side of the rose. I'm insignificant. I'm Shakespeare's theater. The second part of this that makes it work is every time I take a step towards you, you keep this rose 50% between you and me. All right, now what I mean by that, I'm going to take a step, 50%. I'm going to take another step, 50%. Okay, so without me helping you, get comfortable, grounded, okay, center your head, pretty much. Okay, now watch the rose, don't look at me, but you see me stepping, all right? I'm going to take a step. A little closer. I mean, move this a little closer, 50%. Okay, how's that? Am I too close right here? Okay, all right, one more step. Okay, am I too close? Is that different than it was a few minutes ago? Okay, let's do another step. Okay, a little closer. Okay, how's that?
Okay.
Okay, comfortable? Now, a minute ago it wasn't comfortable.
No, this is fine.
Okay, now another step. Now, you don't care. This is you, and this is out here. How's that?
It's fine.
Okay, one more step. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to step back, move it back 50%, 50%, 50%. Keep going, stop. You don't care what Shakespeare's theater does out here. You are only concerned about that. Would that make sense? Okay, now let's do it a little differently. Here it is. Got it? You don't walk around like that. Okay, so what happens now is it becomes pretty much an automatic experience. It doesn't matter where I am. That rose goes completely around you. It does. You hold it up, it goes all the way around. You know exactly where I am. You know how close I am. You have a whole sensation of where I am, and it doesn't matter what I am. Look at her. Is that different than the first kind of run at that? Now, would that be grounded, center your head, layers of thought, present, with your rose up. Would that change? Now, let me ask another question. Notice yourselves right now. Are you feeling different, more comfortable, more safe? Funny word here, but is there something different about your energy right now? Is that interesting? Now, don't go away yet. Remember I said we're going to take out these vibrations in your space that you're hanging on to that are in that backpack. You just took out a ton of them. You have no idea what you took out, but do you feel more comfortable with yourself right now than you did when you walked in the door? Right? We're not done. Okay? So if you went out on the street right now, could you do this same thing? Would it be useful to do that? How do you feel? Do you feel kind of grounded or a little more present and aware of yourself right now than you might have before? Okay, perfect. That works fine. Okay, from here, could you live your life, if you could manage this, would you take that outside all week? Would that change how you engage with people and allow you more room to create the way you might want to create? Is it possible? Okay, great. Good. Thanks. Okay, thanks.
Okay, I hope that was helpful. Now, you kind of saw the woman being a little bit concerned at first. The closer I got, the closer I got. But then, once she had the rose, did you see her face as I walked up to her and walked back out, walked around her? She was presently stable, very clear, aware, and if you noticed her eyes and her face, she was very present in her body. So the rose allows you to even get more comfortable in your space. So here's my suggestion. Play with your rose. One of the best ways to do that is go to the grocery store. Get a cart. Don't buy anything. First time you go, put your rose up, kind of even right out here, and take your cart and move around the store, conscious of your rose. And watch what happens as you move past people. They will look at you. They will smile. You will be very aware to them, even though they have no idea why they are paying attention to you. The whole time as you get closer to people, move your rose in. As you move away from people, move your rose out. You go past somebody, move your rose in. Pay attention to the rose. You are anchoring the process. It's a play space. Play with it often. Go back out of the store, assess what just happened. Go back in the store, buy your groceries, go around. When you're talking to the checkout person, put your rose up. Hi, how are you doing? Did you have a nice day? Weather was really good. They're not paying any attention to your conversation. You are just having conversation with them. You are on your side of the rose, and the conversation is happening on that side of the rose. Just notice yourself. There'll be a calming sensation, but more, there'll start to be an awareness. Here I am. I'm having this conversation and I'm very engaged in it. It also begins to allow, remember we talked about those concentric circles where we move away from ourselves. It allows you to begin to stabilize your presence, beginning to notice over here quietly without going over there. So, third place I would suggest is as you're in a relationship, husband, wife, play the game. And they're going to say, what is going on? Something's different. Yep, I'm just playing with my rose. Explain to them what you're doing if you'd like. At work, put your rose up. Have conversations. In a business meeting, just sit there with your rose up. Notice how much more attentive and aware you are of what's going on. You're going to find that these tools, center your head, grounding, starting to perceive from that fourth layer of thought, staying on your side of the rose, is going to allow you a comfort level. It might even be odd at first because it's like, whoa, I'm not in anxiety. I'm not in fear. I feel pretty good today. And you're going to start to notice that the world is very noisy, but the noise has nothing to do with you in real terms. So, one of the most potent tools you can play with, create the mental image picture, create a point of delineation. This is me, and that's the theater. And then see what happens. We take this tool in level 2, level 1 and level 2 of the course in Mastering Alchemy. And you begin to play with it in a way that the stability, the presence, the awareness actually expands in your space considerably more. So enjoy this tool. I think you'll find it to be something that begins to reshape your reality.